week since there were riots across 6 states during Ram Navami celebrations there. Since then, at least 3 state governments have decided to deploy the bulldozer as a sort of law enforcement tool. After Bulldozer Baba and Bulldozer Mama, now it seems that Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel has decided to become Bulldozer Bhai. We say that because today bulldozers were used to demolish structures in Khambhat in Gujarat, the same place where violence took place a few days ago as soon as Ram Navami processions were passing by. 1 person was killed in that unfortunate violence and several were injured. But even as there was renewed outrage over the bulldozer brand of extrajudicial justice, the administration clarified that everything was being done by the book.
તાજેતરમાં જે ઘટના બની છે તે અનુસંધાને જેટલા પણ સેન્સિટિવ પોઈન્ટ્સ છે ત્યાં જે ઇલીગલ દબાણ લોકો દ્વારા કરવામાં આવ્યું છે તો શાંતિ અને સલામતી જળવાઈ રહે તે અનુસંધાને એસડીએમ સાહેબની અધ્યક્ષતામાં પોલીસ બંદોબસ્ત પૂરો પાડી રહ્યો છે.
કેટલા ગલ્લા અને લારીઓ હટાવવામાં આવી છે અને આગળ કેટલી જગ્યાએ આ કાર્યવાહી કરવામાં આવશે?
અત્યારે હાલમાં જ આપ જે જોઈ શકો છો તેમ સક્કરપુર વિસ્તારમાં જે 4 ગલ્લા હતા તેને હટાવી દેવામાં આવે છે. બાકી એસડીએમ અધ્યક્ષતામાં જે પ્રમાણે આગળના સેન્સિટિવ પોઈન્ટમાં જેવા પણ ઇલીગલ દબાણ જોવા મળશે તેને હટાવવાની કાર્યવાહી એસડીએમ અધ્યક્ષતામાં પૂરી કરવામાં આવશે અને પોલીસનો પૂરો સહયોગ તેમને કરવામાં.
સાહેબ, આ રેલી જે નીકળવાની હતી હનુમાન જયંતિના નિમિત્તે એ વિશે શું નીકળવાની છે?
હાલમાં એ બાબતે કોઈ નવા ન્યૂઝ છે નહીં. જો કંઈ હશે તો આપણે ખ્યાલ.
आज शक्करपुर में से अतिक्रमण हटाया गया है और अभी फ्यूचर में खंभात सिटी में जहाँ पर भी है और खंभात के आसपास में भी जहाँ पर भी सरकारी ज़मीन पर है वहाँ हर सब जगह से अतिक्रमण हटाएंगे. उसकी कंसर्न एजेंसी सिटी सर्वे है, नगर पालिका है, उन सबके पास से पूरा डेटा मंगाया गया है और उनके पास भी अपना डेटा है और कोऑर्डिनेटेड मैनर में सारे डिपार्टमेंट, रेवेन्यू है, पुलिस है, नगर पालिका है, पंचायत है, एवरीवन सब एक दूसरे के साथ मिलजुल कर एक साथ में लोगों की सुखाकारी के लिए हम काम करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं.
Now remember, this is not the first time that the BJP has used this formula. The tactic became a theme first, a poll theme first in Uttar Pradesh, then replicated against rioters in Madhya Pradesh and now Gujarat. The Yogi Shivraj government had then defended it, saying that offenders were anyway illegal squatters on government land, and now that they are also involved in rioting, the law allows for this action. But every time the bulldozer is deployed, there is a chorus of criticism asking why are innocent Muslims at the receiving end? Why are they denied access to judicial recourse? Asaduddin Owaisi in fact asked why, despite Muslims suffering more in terms to damage to property in these riots, they are now at the receiving end of the bulldozer.
Hate and hate perpetrated against the Muslim minority is consistent with the ideology of Sangh Parivar. Under what law can you demolish a house, assuming that they are right for a while, which they are not right? Under what law? You are violating not only our Indian law, but you are also violating the Geneva Convention. How can you give a collective punishment to the whole community?
वही बुलडोजर चलाना है तो महंगाई पे चलाओ, बेरोजगारी पे चलाओ और सामाजिक बुराइयों के खिलाफ चलाओ. जो देश की आज समस्या है उससे ध्यान बांटा जा रहा है. बेरोजगारी बढ़ती जा रही है, महंगाई बढ़ती जा रही है, दंगे फसाद हो रहे हैं, अशांति चारों तरफ फैल रही है. उसके बारे में मोदी जी एक शब्द नहीं बोलते.
In fact, the Rajasthan BJP is now urging the state's chief minister to also adopt the same action. Their logic is that for close to a fortnight, Ashok Gehlot has been unable to locate and arrest the main accused of the riots, Matloob Ahmed. People like Matloob, people like Mushtaq, all of whom were caught on camera and all of whom are still on the run. Will the Gehlot Sarkar now also be forced to roll out the bulldozer?
कल भी कहा मुख्यमंत्री प्रधानमंत्री को कोई अधिकार नहीं है कि वो सीधे ही कहे कि तुम जाके तोड़ दो किसी मकान. उनको अधिकार भी नहीं है तो आप सोचते तो किसको अधिकार है? कानून का राज होना चाहिए, संविधान की रक्षा हो, लोकतंत्र मजबूत हो इसका संदेश देने के लिए यात्रा मैं समझता हूँ जो निकल रही है कि भाई सब में शांति, भाईचारा, प्रेम कैसे पैदा हो, जो बिगाड़ने का षड्यंत्र कर रहे हैं, ये स्थिति है। इसलिए बहुत जरूरी था ये यात्रा निकालना।
आतंकवादियों ने, असामाजिक तत्वों ने, गुंडों ने नववर्ष की शोभा यात्रा पर हमला किया, सैकड़ों लोगों को घायल कर दिया, दुकानों में आग लगा दी, पर मुख्यमंत्री जी अभी तक उन आतंकवादियों को गिरफ्तार नहीं होने दे रहे हैं। क्यों नहीं होने दे रहे हैं? अरे आतंकवादियों के घरों के ऊपर, उस मस्जिद को से पत्थर है, उस पर तो बुलडोजर चलाओ। इनका तो मध्य प्रदेश से बुलडोजर चला रहे हैं आतंकवादियों के घरों पर, उस पर पेट दुख रहा है गलत साहब का, और निर्दोष लोगों को गिरफ्तार कर रहे हैं।
All right, Shweta Shalini, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us along with Rishi Bagree, political analyst, Sanjay Jha, suspended Congress leader, Ravi Srivastav, political analyst. Sanjay Jha, will Mr. Gehlot also now take the bulldozer to Matloob's house? 14 days, they haven't found Matloob, at least they can find his house.
Well, because he believes in India's constitutional democracy. And let me say upfront of the program, this is nothing but an extension of the Gujarat model that Mr. Modi had perfected during the time when he was the chief minister. I mean, can you imagine whoever pelted the stones? There is a criminal process in this country. We are still a democracy, hopefully, I don't know. And you have governments today which are running down shops and establishments where people earn their livelihoods and their homes. I want to ask that today, if I were to commit a crime, how is my family, my children, or my wife, or my cousins responsible for the same? I mean, you know, how can we endorse this banana republic that Mr. Modi's government is making this country? And you know,
banana republic
on record.
Why should anyone's family pay for what they have done?
Unauthorized construction, and I have brought it down because it is illegal, but it has got nothing to do with the alleged...
But actually, both in the case of Madhya Pradesh and in the case of Gujarat, I don't know if you heard the SDM, she said that they were anyway illegal. The shop that these people had built was anyway illegal. It just so happens that they also have the additional, you know, the additional credit now of also being rioters. They are illegal squatters, they are also rioters.
Okay, now let me answer you. If I have an illegal shop, by the way, and you should know it better than me, if anybody is doing an illegal occupation of property, there is a process for that as well. You know, unfortunately, Mr. Modi's government doesn't seem to understand the law, obviously. You get a notice, then you have a right to reply to the notice. I have a right to the recourse to the courts. Have they been complied with? And by the way, are you trying to tell me that all unauthorized construction in Gujarat and in Madhya Pradesh and in all the BJP ruled states have been brought down, or are they only done by the Muslims of India?
Shalini,
I can tell you, I live in
this
Mumbai.
This seems too much of a coincidence that your rioters also turn out to be squatters. Shweta Shalini.
I mean, this is a monumental show.
So, Padmaja, a couple of things. By the way, Sanjay Ji is out of the system, so probably he is forgotten or he doesn't know. This is definitely not the Gujarat model. This is the new Yogi model, and it is here to stay, whether you like it or not. Second, let's understand this. See, there are people, if you actually look at, if we are talking about Khambhat, please understand what the FIR says. 3 Maulavis and the other co-accused basically collected all the people from Bharuch and Ahmedabad and collected swords and stones, and then decided a complete pre-planned, premeditated attack on the Shobha Yatras or the Ram Navami celebrations. Now the question here is, they also promised legal and financial support. Now, why don't, I just heard Owaisi ji talk on your channel, he's also an advocate. Ask these writers, Sanjay Ji was talking about democracy and law and so forth. Ask one of these writers to go to the court. Can they are illegal squatters, and on
but that
top
seems
of
a
it,
bit
they are
unfair.
writers.
First you break their house and then you say go to court.
Miscreants of this society, they have absolutely no right to stay in this society.
Okay, no right to stay in society.
Hindu majoritarian, and the fact is that this pre-planned, premeditated attack...
Okay, let him quickly answer that. I really must bring in Rishi Bagree. Let him quickly answer. Yes, Sanjay Jha, answer.
Never do the celebrations of Ram Navami again.
They have no right.
That's one of the reasons why it was pre-planned, not only in...
okay, Shweta Shalini, let him respond. Sanjay Jha.
It was done in Buldozer in Karnataka, in Howrah in West Bengal, in Lohar Bagga in...
Okay, fine. Let him answer. Let him answer. Go on, Sanjay Jha.
Padmaja, these are manifestations of a banana republic. This is like a kangaroo court. Now, the difference is the kangaroo court are institutionalized governments. These are people who've got a public mandate. Now, ever since Adityanath has won in Uttar Pradesh on the so-called yellow bulldozer, the BJP believes I have got the Janta's right to do what I want. And I do hope the people of the country who are watching your program, and I think the same is being discussed across several media platforms, wake up to the reality of what we are dealing with today.
Okay, Rishi Bagree institutionalizing गुंडागर्दी and then hiding behind an excuse of ये तो पहले से ही illegal थे. Rishi Bagree institutionalizing गुंडागर्दी.
Good evening, Padmaja. I mean, there is one question I would like to everyone. Even Muharram procession takes place across the country, but why does the stone pelting takes place only on the Ram Navami procession? You need to answer that. And the police have voluminous evidence that the Khambhat riots were completely planned. And the main accused, Mustaqat Maulvi and his two brothers, Martin and Mohsin, were the key conspirator and planned a riot riot by pelting stones during the Ram Navami procession. The two other, you need to understand, they have actually got the people from Bharuch and Ahmedabad. They actually stored stones, iron rods, and arms, ammunition, petrol bombs were stored in those shops which are now getting demolished. They were illegal completely. And first of all, if you have seen the footage, you'll understand they were simple. The shop were completely illegal on a public property.
Okay, they were illegal. They were on public property, and we are getting the names and the identity and the reason now. The big news coming in at this point of the people whose houses, and actually, I'm sorry, not houses, but shops, which have been raised by the state. We have the details now of why this property was bulldozed. We have accessed the FIR in the Khambhat riot as well. The people, and let me go straight across to Amit Rajput for more of this. Amit, ये बताइए कि जिनके दुकानें गिराई गई हैं, क्या दंगे की वजह से गिराई गई हैं या इसलिए गिराई गई हैं क्योंकि वो अनऑथराइज्ड है? कहानी क्या है?
देखिए पद्मजा जी, ये जिनके भी नाम है एफआईआर में, उनकी दुकानें तो हैं, लेकिन ये सारी अवैध रूप से यहाँ की दुकानें थी। इस जगह पे, जिस जगह पे ग्राउंड जीरो पर टाइम्स नेटवर्क की टीम मौजूद है, जो इस घटना का मुख्य षड्यंत्रकार था, उसका यहाँ पर एक ठेला हुआ करता था। आज उस ठेले को यहाँ पे जो जिला प्रशासन है उसने हटा दिया। साथ ही साथ ये जो सामने आप दुकानें देख रही हैं, मैं बताना चाहूंगा, आप देख सकते हैं ये जो 3 दुकानें हैं, इनके आगे यहाँ पर इलीगल रूप से वो कब्जा कर लिया गया था। यहाँ पे बैठक व्यवस्था बना दी गई थी, तो इस पे आज प्रशासन का जो बुलडोजर है वो घूमा है। लेकिन इससे पहले जिस तरह से प्रांत के यहाँ के ऑफिसर हैं, एसडीएम, जिनसे हमारी बातचीत हुई है, उन्होंने ये कहा है कि पहले इनको सूचना दी गई थी और सूचना देने के बाद रामनवमी का पर्व था, इसलिए किसी तरह की हिंसा ना भड़के, इसलिए प्रयास किया गया था कि हम रामनवमी के बात करेंगे। लेकिन बीच में हिंसा भड़क गई और स्वाभाविक है, लाजमी है कि जिस तरह से 2 राज्यों में बुलडोजर घूमा है, तो आज ये एक चर्चा जो है वो बन चुकी है कि आज दादा का बुलडोजर जो है, भूपेंद्र पटेल भाई का जो बुलडोजर है, वो गुजरात में घूमा है।
बताइए रवि श्रीवास्तव, ये क्या हो गया? ये तो बता रहे हैं वहां के एसडीएम की नोटिस पहले ही जा चुका था इन 4 दुकान वालों को।
Padmaja, I think it's not a bulldozer justice, it is actually the justice bulldozed.
And what we have seen it just now is the way selectively these actions are being taken.
Arey sir, answer the facts, no? We are sitting here in our respective houses and studios. My colleague is in Khambhat. He is showing you the shop, जहां दुकान के आगे आपने ठेला लगा के, आपने अपनी रेड़ी लगा के, पटरी लगा के, घर बसा के वहां बैठ गए। बुलडोजर ने आगे उसको हटा लिया।
No law permits a vindictive action. You have to follow the code of the law.
Amit is telling you that they issued a notice.
Do you think that all your particular community people have encroached opposite the shops?
अच्छा, ये बताइए अमित, ये जवाब दीजिए। अब ये इल्जाम लगाया जा रहा है कि ये कैसे आप बोल सकते हैं कि एक ही समुदाय के लोग ही वहां पे एनक्रोचमेंट कर रहे हैं? ये तो बुरी भावना लग रही है। अमित एक सेकंड। अमित
देखिए जो ये हमारे जो डिबेट में जो एक्सपर्ट बैठे हुए हैं, बराबर यहाँ पे नेटवर्क थोड़ा कम आता है, लेकिन मैं जो समझ रहा हूँ उनकी बात, मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि आप इन्हें जो महिला एसडीएम की जो बाइट है वो फिर से एक बार उन्हें प्ले करके सुनाइए। सिर्फ ये जगह नहीं है, सिर्फ एक कम्युनिटी को टारगेट नहीं किया गया है। इसके अलावा जो दूसरी कम्युनिटी है, जिन लोगों ने बाजार के अंदर या अलग अलग खंभात की जो शहर के अंदर छोटा सा एक कस्बा टाउन है खंभात, वहां पे भी आज जिला प्रशासन की तरफ से कार्यवाही की गई है। और इस तरफ की मैं बात बताना चाहूंगा कि जिस तरफ यहां पर भी काफी एनरोचमेंट आगे की तरफ किया गया था, जहां पे दूसरी कम्युनिटी के लोगों के शॉप थे, कुछ ठेले थे, उन्हें भी जिला प्रशासन ने आज हटाने की कार्यवाही जो है वो की है। सिर्फ एक कम्युनिटी को टारगेट नहीं किया गया है, दोनों कम्युनिटी को टारगेट किया गया। और जिस जगह पे हम खड़े हैं ये मौकाए वारदात है, इसी जगह पे उस राम शोभा यात्रा पे हमला हुआ था और यहाँ पे सिर्फ 50 मीटर के अंतर पर वो राम जी मंदिर जो है वो सामने नजर आता है। और ये जो जगह है ये बिल्कुल ये मस्जिद है और यहीं से ये पूरा घटनाक्रम को अंजाम दिया गया था। तो मुश्किल से 50 मीटर के अंतर पर यह घटना घटी थी। लेकिन ये एसडीएम की जो बाइट है, एक बार आप उन्हें फिर से सुनाइए। उन्होंने जो उनके स्पीच में उन्होंने बाइट में कहा है कि पूरे खंभात के अंदर ये ड्राइव जो है वो चलाई जाएगी, सिर्फ एक कम्युनिटी को टारगेट नहीं किया है। लेकिन जहां जहां पर अवैध निर्माण है, अवैध ठेले हैं, जिनसे ट्रैफिक की समस्या हो रही है, उन्हें हटाया जा रहा है।
देखिए, अभी तो आपका जो पूरा आर्ग्यूमेंट था रवि श्रीवास्तव, दैट सीम्स टू हैव been deflated a little bit, but that is the nature of facts. They don't always suit what you want them to say. Anyhow, we have just put the facts out there, not sitting here and making our judgments or getting information from WhatsApp. Amit is there on the ground, and there is no targeting of a community across the board. Anyone has encroached, they will be removed, and they are being removed. Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Shweta, Shalini for joining me. Quick break on the other side. A chilling warning that has been given on the issue of the loudspeaker. Stay tuned to find out.